Here we go. Okay, y'all, I'm so excited about tonight's Monday night call, our Monday meetup. I look forward to this every single week. I wish that we could all be in person and be doing all these trainings together, but this is as good as it gets on Zoom. And if you're watching the replay, I'm glad that you're taking time out of your day, your evening, your life to watch this. We'll keep this short and sweet, 30 minutes, maybe even less, depending on how fast I can talk. And y'all know I can talk a lot. But tonight's topic for our call, maybe you have some pen and paper, maybe you have something you can take notes on, because you might want to take notes. And then I'm going to have a little task for you. So go ahead and just prepare yourself, prepare your little churn and tummy that you may need to speak towards the end and share. Go ahead and just brace yourself. It won't be anything challenging, but there will be a little bit of an action item at the end. So what we're talking about is what's holding you back. I think probably every single person at some point in their business has had some, whether it's small or great, thought, mindset, inkling that has held them back from just pressing on, shooting for the goal, whatever it may be. I actually took this from Take the Stairs, which if you haven't been around, we do book studies about every month or so. We kind of took a break in June. But this was one that we did, I think about April. Take the Stairs. It's such a good book. If you haven't read it, read it. And I will be straight honest, I fell way behind the team schedule to read it. And I finished it last month. So, you know, you can just, whatever, judge all you want, but I finished it. So that's the big thing. And right towards the end, there was some really, really good nuggets that I didn't like have it in my mind, like, ooh, I'm going to share about that one day. But when it was my turn for team call, I was like, that's exactly what I want to talk about. Because when I read it, I immediately was like, ooh, it stings a little bit. I was like, I think they're talking about this whole book. I felt like was talking about me some days. So anyways, good book. Take the Stairs. Go find it on Audible, Amazon, whatever. Plug that in. Go read it. It's really, really great. So towards the end, it talks about what is holding you back. And it's not, he does reference network marketing a lot in this. He was a part of network marketing back in the day. He talks a lot about that business structure, but he's not necessarily talking about network marketing in this context. But a lot of times when I'm reading professional development books or personal growth, whatever, even like devotionals, I a lot of times turn it towards Plexus or my business, because that's probably where I am mindset mentally, struggling with most on a daily basis. It's not necessarily how I parent. It's not necessarily a conflict with my spouse. It's usually battling the constant, I'm a go-getter. I'm going for this. I'm shooting for goals. It's going to be an awesome month. And then like the self-doubt creeps in, all of that. So a lot of times I'm reading things and I'm immediately turning it back towards thoughts on my business, Plexus. Where am I going with this? What do I need to do differently, kind of thing, or like have a lot of self-reflection moments. So what he talks about is three, and you probably may remember this for those who read the book, but three deep-rooted attitudes that are very, very common in everybody. I would say if you don't take anything from this that relates to Plexus, maybe you'll take something out of this that can relate to life in general. But three deep-rooted attitudes, and what those are fear, entitlement, and perfectionism. Fear, entitlement, and perfectionism. And so as I go through these, you may find that you relate to all three. You may find that, at least one sticks out. You may already be like, boom, I already know one of them. You don't even have to tell me, Lee. I already know that's one of my attitudes I've got to have fixed because it's holding me back. But we're going to dive right on into fear. So the author explains that fear is a fictional story that we have written in our own minds. So just take a pause on that. We know, I'm assuming a lot of our community believes in Jesus. You're a faith-based person. If not, we invite you in the circle. We talk about Jesus, we talk about God, we love Jesus, all of that. But think about that. We talk a lot with the fear coming from the devil. We know the devil's creeping in. We've got fear that is not from God. That is not a part of what we need to have storing in our hearts. And that's exactly what it is. It's fictional. It is false. It is unreal thoughts that we have created ourselves in our own minds about a situation or something happening. And so what fear allows us, because what we do in this business, what we do in Plexus, it is uncomfortable. Let's just face it. It is uncomfortable. I don't care if you are brand new, you signed up yesterday, to you are a triple thousand million diamond. There's not one, but there are probably aspects in your business at some point that are uncomfortable. And you are required to dream. There aren't very, I mean, we were told as kids, you can be anything, but I feel like that's just like what you say to kids, you know? I mean, we want our kids to go and believe they can do anything, but I feel like at a certain age, like reality sets in and like we kind of stop dreaming, or at least I did. I wasn't sitting as a 15-year-old in high school being like, I'm going to go be XYZ and I just know I'm going to do it. I was like, no, I know I'm going to go be a teacher. And what did I do? I went and was a teacher, you know? And I guess that was as big as my dream was going to be. Maybe because I didn't know anything else yet, or my eyes, and I love my parents, but my eyes weren't opened a lot from my parents to guide and be like, Lee, you can be so much more than a teacher, or you could be this, or the entrepreneurial spirit, I don't feel like was present with the generations above. And maybe you're in the generation above me. I'm not trying to put us all in the box of like 20s, 30s, and, you know, early 40s, whatever, but wherever you are. But I feel like maybe you can relate to that. 10, 20, whatever, 30 years ago, there wasn't an entrepreneurial spirit where right now you can just feel it, where people are like, I'm going to go do and be whatever I want to be, and I'm going to do it, you know? And so that's kind of what we are in. And it requires us to do uncomfortable things. It requires us to dream. But fear, when we live in it, we don't have to try. Fear allows us to just kind of sit and give minimal effort. We don't have to work. We don't have to try that hard. And we definitely don't have to fail. Fear allows us to kind of sit in this safe bubble where we don't need to challenge ourselves, where we just kind of become comfortable. And I think that's what's hard, because we're forced into this network marketing business, this MLM, where we got to step out in faith and we got to do some big, scary things. But what may be holding you back is inside being like, no, I think I'm okay just being. You know, if I put out too much work, then that makes it scary. If I challenge myself too much, then I don't know what will happen. You know, that makes me uncomfortable. Or I've never had to dream really big, so I don't really know what that's like. So like, I'm just going to stay where I'm at and not really try as hard. Okay. And it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Those are normal feelings. It's okay to be unsure. I face that probably every day. I sit down in my messenger and I'm like, who am I going to message today that might turn me down? You know, like we all go through that. And then that kind of puts a blocker of like, well, then I'm just not going to message anybody. You know, I guess I'm not going to reach out, or, you know, I'm not going to use those bold words because what if so-and-so, you know, I taught for a long time and my posts were very, I'm just going to say like very PG, not that like I'm putting out R-rated posts, but I'm just saying for the sake of rating purposes, they were very PG. I don't want to say too much because then my teachers might start thinking something, or I'm not going to post a picture of myself in a sports. I literally did not start posting transformation pictures until I left the classroom, because I didn't want myself in a sports bra or, you know, whatever to be showing. And so those are appropriate, but I feel like there was probably part of me that was living in fear and not claiming that victory of me leaving the classroom, not claiming physical transformation, not claiming helping other people by sharing in a different way. And so it's okay to be uncomfortable, but you have to act. That's going to be a theme tonight. You have to act. We have to act. We have to act beyond that fear, because then that's when we create movement and that's when we create momentum. And I don't think there's one person on this call who does not want movement in their business or does not want momentum. And so at some point you're going to have to be like, you know, we've got to be pushing the fear aside. I see some comments right there. Yep, I'm right there. I'll check the comments here in a little bit. So fear is probably a big one. And if you're newer, then that is probably a really big one. If you are more of an introverted person, that's probably a really big one. And it's easy for me to say, girlfriend, what are you scared of? But I've had 6.5 years of probably mindset training to be like, you know what, if somebody tells me no, awesome, moving on, bless you. If somebody blocks me, sweet. You aren't meant to be in my circle anyways. If somebody's talking about me behind my back in my hometown as the Plexus pink drink girl, okay, sorry about you. I'm regulating my blood sugars and getting happy. Like, it's taken me a long time to overcome that, but there are still days when you may get, some people get hurtful messages or whatever else. And so anyways, you have to move past that fear. So that's one of the things. I just want you to soak in all of that. Second, deep-rooted attitude that we have that might be holding us back is entitlement. And this one I thought was a little bit different. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I see at least one person on here that's on my team, and I could talk to her about anything and everything. Hey, Jen, girl, love you. But entitlement, I think I've actually struggled with that. And I feel like that's because I personally probably have selfish tendencies, or I have very much, I'm probably humble in some aspects, but inside I lack humility in some aspects. I'm just being very vulnerable with you guys right now, just telling you all my stuff. And you probably could be like, yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. But I've had to struggle with stuff like this. And so when entitlement came up, I was like, well, that's weird, because we hear it all the time. Oh, these kids are so entitled, and this generation is so entitled. But like, what does that mean? And what does that mean for us in our business, or for us trying to overcome this emotion, this attitude of entitlement? And so what he said in this book is that we believe it should be easier. And I think that right there kind of sums it up. I believe that this should be easier because X, Y, and Z. You can say whatever, because I've been here for 6.5 years, because I stuck around when leaders left, because I stuck around when I had business builders leave. Like, I should be at X rank. I should be doing blank. This is just me. This is me. Okay. This really stuck out to me. We want it to be easier, and we want other people to do the work and solve things for us, whether that's above us or below us. And we have really, really solid leaders who are above us, and we probably expect them to do a lot of work for us. And sometimes when they don't show up, we don't show up. When they have life going on, we all go quiet, because that's happened. And then the same thing, people below us, I'm sure some of us, mainly myself, would be like, well, if I could just get my team to do blank, if I could just get a team, if I could just get somebody who wants to do the business. Well, that right there fits into that entitlement bubble. I want things to be easier for me, so I'm going to go kind of point my fingers at, oh, I wish that, so-and-so would just blah, blah, blah. Or I wish that I had bigger and, newer business builders or something, Or we may look at somebody else's team, that comparison. This probably fits into the comparison bubble as well, right? Oh, I wish it was just like, look how easy it is over there. Like, why can't I blank? And I've struggled with that. And I think that fits into that entitlement. Anything that turns it back towards myself, because one thing that he said is, when entitlement engages, self-discipline disengages. So when you're starting to have these thoughts of wanting it to be easier, wanting somebody else to do the hard work for you, or there were other things that he mentioned. I just kind of wrote some stuff down. But, in that realm, when you feel entitled to, I'm just going to say, maybe not show up as much because you've reached a certain level, or you've breathed a little bit, like, I have a new goal. Awesome. Sweet. I'm just going to sit back for a minute, whatever, those kinds of things. Your self-discipline, your ability to be committed every day, to do the daily IPAs, to be in action. Again, y'all, please know, I feel like I'm a preacher on a pulpit. I'm preaching to myself. Every time we get on these calls, I'm preaching to myself. So y'all just know that. This is literally like life lessons for Lee, taught by Lee, to Lee, okay? But I'm just letting you know, I don't want anybody to think I'm pointing fingers, but that self-discipline goes away. I'm not as good at, I'm more focused on what everybody else is or is not doing. I'm not doing it myself. And Jill and Rachel, we've all heard it. They'll tell us again, how do you expect other people to show up and do the work if you don't do the work? How can you have a team growing underneath you if you're not your own? We always say, oh, if I could just get a rock star. Well, be your own rock star. Why should I expect somebody to come in hot and recruit 10 people a month under me if I'm not recruiting 10 people a month? You know, how can I expect Jen or my other team members or whatever to get a silver when I'm not getting a silver? So that, I feel like that kind of fits into that entitlement. And so when we have action, it's going to take more sacrifice. You're going to have to get more done. You're going to have to be more focused. In life, you may have to be more frugal. You're going to have to be more committed. Whatever your goals may be, I'm relating a lot of this to Plexus, but this is life goals in general. If you are wanting more out of life, and you're going to have to grow your own self-discipline, that fits in all categories. Have better discipline with working out. You can't lose weight or be fit if you're not going to do the work. No one else is going to do it for you. You can't grow your business if you don't want to do the work. No one else is going to do it for you. You can't get out of debt. No one else can do that for you. You can't, whatever it may be, fill in the blank. You are the only person who can do that for you, especially in this business. Again, preaching to myself, preaching to myself. So entitlement, I love this quote. Entitlement is the end of achievement. And so that may be something that's holding you back because you think, I don't want to say we think we're above it, but I guarantee you the people who are always on that stage as the top leaders, the top how many ever star diamonds or new jewels, they do the dirty grunt work when no one's watching. And so I have to remind myself, I've got to do the dirty grunt. I've got to stay up late. I've got to get up early. I've got to make the time. Even if it's small, I've got to make that time every day and do something, stay self-disciplined so that those entitlement thoughts go away. All right, number 3, perfectionism. This one, I mean, I can relate to all of them at some point, but perfectionism, this is another one. He said it's the number one cause of procrastination. The number one cause of procrastinating. And all of these relate to basically what's holding you back from taking action, doing the work, right? And so instead of working, we wait. We just sit and wait. We wait for the perfect opportunity. We wait for the perfect person. We wait for the perfect event, the perfect product release, the perfect bonuses, the perfect circumstances, the best wording. We just sit and wait for it to be perfect before we take that leap. And that, I think, happens probably to people who are newer in their journey or unsure, but at some point, probably all of us, because I bet everybody on this call has probably sat there and go, wait, what's a really good message that you're sending that works? You know, like we're always like, what'd you say to them? Because like we're not smart enough to figure it out and have a conversation, because we are, but like we want to know what the perfect thing is to say. Or I asked that in the Watch Me Work chat earlier today or yesterday, like, what are you saying to blank? As soon as it was sent, I was like, well, duh, I could figure that out, like myself. That's what, it was like right there in my head. But we get so caught up in that. We get caught up in making the perfect post. We don't think we're good enough at our pictures or, whatever it is. We get caught up in the perfect, how should I be? How should I do? How should I look? What should I say? So that I don't mess up and lose a sale or turn people off or whatever, that it ends up becoming procrastination. And it's limiting. It is so limiting because it's keeping you in this box of waiting for the right time, the right moment. And then what? I mean, at some point you have to act, right? And so what this happens, it keeps us from making mistakes. And I love this. It keeps us from making mistakes. We procrastinate enough so that we don't make a mistake, but it's in the mistakes where we learn. That's when we learn. That's when we're taught. That's when, and not necessarily a mistake, but like even in your low moments, that's when you learn. That's when you're taught a lesson. That's when you have that turnaround and you realize something has changed, or I've got to do something different, or I've got to act differently, or I've got to let go of limiting beliefs, whatever it may be. And so no one has it all figured out. None of us do. None of us have it all figured out, because if we would have been diamond yesterday. We would have been double diamond yesterday. We may be in seasons where we've got it going on and things are just clicking and moving and we just got it. But then I'm sure there will be a day when you're just kind of sitting at your computer or your phone and you're like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Who do I message? What do I say? I don't have a good picture. What should I post? And those fit in that bubble of perfectionism, and we procrastinate. We waste time. And so the common theme with all of these three is to just act. This whole book is about taking action. He says, I'm going to say it in the wrong order, but he says, think it, say it, and then act on it. And so that's the piece I think that misses with so many of us, myself included. I can say all day long what to do. I can plan it all out. I can type it all up. I can teach it. I can talk about it. But that action piece, I have to give myself a kick in the rear every day to go be in motion, to go do something. I'm doing stuff, but is it the right stuff that's pushing me over the hump of what's holding me back? Am I doing those kind of actions on a daily basis? So here's my question for you. You can answer this in the chat. You can just ponder it. If anybody feels free to speak, we're running kind of close on time, but by all means you can. So here's my question for you. Of those three inaction attitudes that I shared about, which do you feel like you struggle the most with, and why do you think that? So maybe just kind of thinking again, you can type it, or if anybody wants to share super quick, you can. Out of those three, which one do you feel like you have struggled with and maybe overcome, or you're struggling with now?
I'll share really quick.
Okay.
So mine's definitely, I know for a long time it was fear because of, fear what people thought or whatever. But then, like you said earlier, all these trainings that we have about growth and, mindset, things like that, it really has helped. So now I'm kind of over that hump, but now it's more like the perfectionism. So I have like a little bit of both because like you're just saying, you want everything to be perfect, the perfect pose, the perfect thing. What do you say? Whatever. But I feel like right now I'm in that more in the perfectionism where I want everything to be right. But I'm like, by not posting anything at all because I want it to be perfect, I'm not doing myself a service because I'm not sharing what I should be sharing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%. Yep. I see a lot of people in the chat saying fear or perfection.
Yeah.
Fear. Yep. Perfectionism is in the presence of fear. Ooh, like that. Fear of failure at first, but now waiting for the perfect. Yep. I will say this. Jill has shared with us before something that Genevieve said, a part of the Winning Day IPA. And she said, if it takes you more than 10 minutes to write up a post, stop overthinking it. And so sometimes I'll have posts in my notes section. I do a lot of good thinking when I'm going to the bathroom in the morning, and I'm like, oh yeah, type it up. Or I'll see something and maybe copy and paste it to edit later or whatever. But sometimes, if that thought pops in, write that post and do it. And don't overthink it. Just push post. It does not have to be perfect. Kayla, I totally agree. I don't know what to do for it. Yeah, honestly, that's exactly it. And I shared that the other day. It really wasn't until I was a part of Plexus that it's there's this whole other world out there of job opportunities or dreaming or life, anything. And I'm very grateful that we do have a team of a lot of teachers, and I've had really impactful leaders above us that are teachers who've left the classroom to kind of show that that's possible. It's not that I don't like to teach. I love teaching. Hello, I'm here with y'all. Love to teach, but there's a whole nother realm of how I could be living my life than in a classroom. Okay, so I see some of y'all more rolling into the chat, which I love hearing. So here's your action item, and this you can take and go, and if you want to share in our Watch Me Work chat, you can, or if you have it fresh on your brain, you can type it in the chat, or you can message me privately, whatever you want to do. But your action item that I truly do want you to ponder on tonight, I'm going to do it as well, is to make a list of 5 things that you could do starting now or do better that would begin your path forward towards your dream. So 5 things that you could do or do better that would move the needle in your business. We like saying that phrase a lot. That would move the needle in your business. That could be anything. Social media presence. That could be the daily messages. That could be maybe working on your own health and fitness journey. Be a product of the product. I mean, there's lots of things. For me, one thing, daily messages. Daily messages. I go in and I go through like ocean wave of like really hot with my messages and then Deadsville and really hot. Daily messages for me is a big one. I'm decent on sharing about social media, but I could always make sure I do daily posts. I haven't posted since like Thursday or Friday, and that's usually not like me. So here it is, Monday at 9:00. And of course, I'm like, what am I going to post? I don't have a picture. I didn't take a picture today. And I've talked so much about like all these things. Who cares? Snap a picture right now. I've got my reset box sitting right up there. I'll just take a picture, or whatever. Put up a quote. Doesn't have to be perfect. Something so that your name pops up with everybody, I saw somebody say, talk more about the opportunity. Yes, times a million. I'm putting that on my list. Talk more about the opportunity. Send bold messages to people. Who cares? Because you never know who's going to be the person that joins your team and boosts you up. You never know. And they could be watching you every single day and scared to reach out to you. Reading more books, listening more podcasts, working on my mindset. I mean, there's lots of things that you could say. I see some rolling in. Oh yes, stop caring what people thought about my posts because they aren't paying my bills. Hallelujah. Plug into a training each day. Ooh, yes. Okay. All of our corporate trainings. Guilty. Make time to listen to those each week. Stop overthinking. These are great. These are really great. And I see some of y'all's wheels turning and pins moving, so that makes me happy. But anywho, like I said, I'm never ever preaching to the congregation. I'm preaching to myself. It's literally, I'm like watching myself when I'm talking to myself sometimes. Not out of vain, but out of like, I need to hear my own message. If you missed that, I know I've said it a couple times. The book is called Take the Stairs. We read this back in like March, April time. It really, really is good. And y'all, if it takes you a long time to get through it, it's okay. I'm learning there's zero race. There's no race against the clock to be the best professional development book reader. Like, there's not, okay? We're all in different seasons, so use Audible if you can. This particular, what I was talking about, if you do have a book copy, it's towards the end. It's actually in the section that's called Action, and it's on page 182. 182. So anywho, I'm going to wrap this up 1 minute early. Check it. Look at that. Yes. Okay. And we have our wellness event after this. So I'm going to let y'all go. Thank y'all for taking time to hop on and listen. Truly, it fills my cup to see y'all and to talk to y'all and to train, even though I do not feel qualified. But I hope you got some good nuggets out of this, and I'll see y'all soon.